Let me tell you something. There's only really one thing I enjoy in racing games. Even though my job is to play them. To play, sure, the crew mostly, but this year I'm gonna try and diversify and play some other ones. But for the general baseline, my job is to play racing games. That's the job title. I play video games for a living, whether that's editing or brand management or thumbnails or art design or project management or vlogging out in the world with other projects that I want to do. At the base of it is racing games, is cars. The podcast is to do with all car culture, but it's all about racing games. So surely you'd have to be someone who knows about cars or racing games. Well, here's the issue. On the Stick Drift podcast, the podcast all about cars, well, the whole point of the podcast is that we go through car news, we go through car information, we go through car updates, but Josh is the one who knows more about cars. I'm the guy who sits behind, has a laugh, makes a joke, and then Josh corrects me. That's the dynamic there. I'm the guy who doesn't know much about cars because I don't. I don't have much of an interest in, well, anything. When it comes to growing up, sure, I love Marvel. But I just, I hop into Marvel whenever I'm interested in it. Sure, Star Wars is great, but I sort of just hop into it when I'm interested in it for like a little bit. Same with God of War, or cars, or other forms of media, and any kind of gaming. I play all the games. I play all the different games, the different genres of gaming. Cars are just one of them that I used to play. Driver San Francisco, amongst Assassin's Creed, and CODs, and so many other games. There's just nothing that stood out about cars for me growing up. Lego games I grew up on more than cars. So what am I doing here if I don't like cars, so to speak? Which, to be fair, given the podcast, I'm now into cars way more thanks to it. But I'm still guilty not really being a car guy. So am I a racing game guy? Well, like I mentioned, technically, I am into racing games, but that's mostly just one of the type of games I'm into. I'm into them as games more than I am them into... That didn't make any sense, but we're going for a raw, uncut video because some of you boys liked that. I'm into them because, well, I'm into them as games. I'm not into them as, looking for something that they're not. Looking for them to represent a car in the perfect way. This thing is my dream car, yet I couldn't care less if it sounded like my dream car right now. Because, sure, the Alpine 110, I would love this thing in the real world. I don't care whether it's perfect. I don't care whether the handling is perfect. I care whether the handling makes for a good game. That's what I care about, truly. So, I'm not really a racing game guy. I'm more of a game guy. So what am I doing here? What do I like in racing games? What in games? What is my place in all of this? Well, I will say, when it comes to the cruisers, when it comes to the customization people, the livery makers, the racers, the game breakers, the competitive players, this, right here, what you're looking at me do right now, this is racing games to me. Now, Motorfest, I will say, gameplay-wise, provided a lot more. The playlists, I love playing the playlists as an experience. I'll get to that when we go on to Motorfest in this video. But as far as outside of Motorfest style of gameplay, this is racing games. Whenever I've been able to play Motorfest, for the last year, whenever I've been able to play Motorfest in my spare time, I've gone on and I've driven around. The reason I did it at Motorfest was because, well, I preferred Motorfest. And the reason I'm doing it on Forza now is because, well, Forza has my dream car. Motorfest doesn't. So I'm now finding so much enjoyment out of getting to drive this thing somewhere. Out of just getting to cruise in this thing somewhere. Forza's force feedback is rubbish. It's pretty bloody shocking compared to the crew, but hey, it does the trick. And it's now something that I get to enjoy out of racing games. It's not the, oh look, a brand new car just came out. Look, I'm hype in those videos. I'm talking like, oh yay, yippee, oh my god, I can't believe that they added what customization? You know, but sure, that happens, and I do have to be excited about that, but not as much as I am to just go on. Well, would I rather just go on and drive? Plug in my wheel and drive? Yes. Sure. When I'm making a cops and robbers video, that is fun. I do enjoy that. But would I rather be cruising around? Yes. When it comes to the most of the things I do, other than like the PvP, which is sometimes enjoyable, and honestly, only Demo Royale. Grand Race is fine, but Demolition Royale is just miles above. I want to get into Forza's PvP. I want to see what Forza's PvP offers, because the playground game modes, those are great. The Infected, stuff like that, those are fun, and I enjoy those. But they're still second to just cruising around, to following the, and you know what? I feel like I'm exposing myself here, right? Because the hardcore community for the crew, they will often joke about the cruiser types. People will go on, they'll go into a public Discord server and be like, does anyone want to join me on a motorcycle cruise? Does anyone want to cruise muscle cars? But secretly, I'm that guy. I don't go around and ask people to cruise with me. I'll chill online, and Josh will hop on. Dylan will hop on. He'll hop in his real life car, but in the game. You know, I'll drive around in this thing. He'll drive around in that thing. Josh will drive around in whatever, because the VX220 isn't in this game. And that's what I'll enjoy immensely. That or PvP, that's all I really am for racing games. The Summit is fine. It's nice. I can do the competitive thing. But I choose not to. You know, the Summit, back when I first properly tried with the Summit, I came 5th. And then 17th. Top 20. Both times. I've come top 20 the moment I decided, okay, look, let me try this Summit. So it's possible. But do I want to? Nah. Because this is racing games for me. Not a single racing game has done Sense of Speed well. I can't tell you how much I want to just turn off that speedometer. Because, what? You're telling me I'm doing 80 miles an hour right now? You're telling me this is what 80 miles an hour looks like? Forza does it terribly, and Crew does it terribly. Like, I want to turn off the speedometer, because this is like maybe 40. But instead, I'm sat at 80, right? But this is what I love. It's what keeps bringing me back to them. When I don't have to make content on Motorfest, I just cruise around. It's why, from a gameplay perspective, Motorfest's car list is better. Motorfest has a better car list from a gaming perspective. Because it's got more variety. It's got F1 cars, monster trucks, power boats, airplanes. It's got drift cars that are specifically spec'd for drift. It's got drag cars with the wheels and everything. But for a cruising perspective, Forza just has more rubbish cars. And truly, that makes them a little better in that aspect. I think they're both great. I think they're both great car lists. But Forza's just holds up better because they have more generic rubbish, right? Like, whoever is going to sit there and ask for the Ford Falcon GTF 351 2015 edition Ford? Like, one guy? Sure. But that one guy's car that he wants is in this game. Because they have so much rubbish. And I do wish sometimes that Motorfest started adding rubbish. But it's a double-edged sword, right? Because, you know, if you have to do a drop that's, sure, maybe they add a Lamborghini, but then they also add the Sandman, the Holden Sandman HQ panel van, right? And it means that car additions in this game, they just don't mean much. You know, people aren't really hyped for cars being added in this game. Or at least from what I can tell, from an outside perspective. But it means for the most part, you know, out of my 3 dream cars, all of them are in this game. Out of my 3 dream cars in Motorfest, 1 of them is in this game. 1 is rumored to be coming to the game. And the Alpine A110 is just not in the game at all. So, there is something for either game. There's something for both games. There's something in every game. And thankfully, for someone who actually wants to play them like I do, all you need is a good map. That's why I'm so happy with Motorfest's map, honestly. Because people are upset about it, sure, because they don't get to cruise the whole US. But you know how nice it is to go through a good-looking map? Do you know how nice it is to cruise around areas that just have such immense detail? It's nuts. And yes, again, like I mentioned, PvP is also very fun. I like PvP in Motorfest a lot. But when I'm not playing PvP, doing this is what brings me back to racing games. Doing this is the main reason I'm going to buy Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I didn't make my money back on Lego 2K Drive, but hey, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, I won't need to. Because if I do videos on that game, sure, they'll be on stuff that I won't directly care about. But you know what they will be? It'll be a game that I now own that I can cruise in. And sure, the game will probably need some help. And it's really sad that that game, you know, is always online, so it's not going to have any mod support. But hopefully, it's a great game for cruising. That's hopefully. I'm very wary of that game. But you know what? That's why I think I do quite like Forza, and I do quite like Motorfest, and I don't quite like Unbound. Because Unbound, that's a gameplay racing game, you know? Like the wild customization and the events and all of that stuff, that's a real gameplay racing game. This, Forza, feels to me like a car guys racing game. And I will say, but the Crew Motorfest feels like the perfect medium between the two. The Crew Motorfest feels like it's a car game for car guys and gameplay. Yeah, but it runs into the crew issue. The crew issue that has plagued every game from the start, every time, all the time. And that is simply, well, there's just not enough of it. As lovely as this is incredibly nice. The same way I enjoy doing exactly this in Forza. It's got those problems even worse, because what, you're telling me I'm doing 80 right now? 80? This is like 20 as far as sense of speed is concerned. But oh, that's the wrong camera switching button. There we go. But tell you what, it is nice, but the crew issue, well, it's that it's great, but there's just not enough of it. The playlists I love. If I was to take any game's gameplay style, it'd be playlists, because I feel like there's such potential there. One a month would be amazing. And if they did what they're doing now with the drift playlist, sequel playlists, brand playlists to fill in the gaps, sure. I don't care if we get a history of Peugeot playlist, because if we're getting once a month, then I don't care at all. Then fine, give me a Ocean and Sky 2. Maybe don't do Ocean and Sky 2. Give me a Motorsports 2. Give me a Ferrari, Automobili Ferrari. Because I don't care, as long as, like, you know, one every month is big and massive like Hoonigan was, and then with a whole island, and then do one every month, and then do more unique ideas, do more interesting things. That's what I want to see. The gameplay I love of the playlist. If I could go back through and play these playlists for the first time again, I'd love to. I play these with audio on, I play these with character dialogue on, I play them with... And Motorfest does provide similar things. Honestly, like I mentioned, the only reason I've been cruising in Forza is because, one, I want something fresh. Truly. Like, I just want something fresh to look at. But also, you know, they have the car that I like. They have the Alpine A110. Motorfest doesn't. So that's also one of the reasons. But the wheel in Motorfest, amazing. Like, truly, the force feedback levels above Forza when it comes to racing as well. When it comes to being in first person, tell you what, just being here and having your wheel rotate the perfect amount. And there's something about these interiors that just feel so, I don't know what it is, definitely more than the Crew 2. In the Crew 2, they felt flat. They felt really flat. In this game, they just feel way more visceral. And look, So this is something I love doing. Is this all just a massive plot to plug my wheel channel where I cruise around, you know, I do the whatever. I cruise around, I upload wheel content. I'm trying to get back on there because I love cruising, so I want to do more cruising on this channel, and maybe I'll do some Forza cruising. Maybe, maybe not. Not really, no. I just genuinely, I've been playing so much of, I go on and I drive around in Forza that I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to talk about how, fellas, I just love doing that. I just love going on Forza and cruising around. And the reason I love Motorfest sometimes above Forza is areas like these. There's so many areas in Motorfest that have such detail like this, that have like all these little intricate spaces you can drive around where you're probably not supposed to be driving around, but ooh, you can. I love it, man. But yeah, you can check out the wheel content because that's where I, you know, drive around on wheel. And you know what? Another reason I'm doing this is because I'm bloody passionate about it, alright? I bloody like driving around, okay? I'm coming out as someone who likes driving around, alright? In fact, even my girlfriend likes it. Look, I drive around and she's like, oh, I'll just sit in cool and watch you drive around. And I'm like, bloody yes. Watch me drive around. But speaking of passion, something else I'm pretty damn passionate about is something in this very room. In fact, I've started a new channel. I've not uploaded anything on it, but there is a new channel out there that is dedicated to something in this room that I'm kind of passionate about, that I wouldn't mind business expensing, but also I wouldn't mind sharing with everyone, because I've got a big project that I want to do, and part of that project requires something in the room. Well, who knows? Thank you to popular members, especially thanks to famous members, and an insane thank you to star members, Danimal, the Manimal, Grim Pepper, and Extreme Speed. By the way, am I ever going to plug that channel on here? Probably not. And an insane thank you to Icon members HK and Extreme Speed again. I'm just not going to plug it here. Pardon me. It might show up on my channel at some point in the other channels, but I'm not plugging it at the moment. It's out there, though. It's out there. Alright. In a bit.